Welcome to the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity Podcast. Join Stewart Heath for down-to-earth conversations with top professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders who have a story to tell. Let's get rolling.
Hello, I'm Stewart Heath. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity Podcast. I am your host and founder and CEO of Harvard Grace Capital. We are blessed today to have Bryan Clayton here and to get his story. Bryan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, Stewart, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Bet. I am honored. As I say often, anybody who's got a C-level title in their name has no time. So we appreciate you sharing yours with us today. And I'm sure the audience will appreciate it as well. We were talking about before we hit record about entrepreneurial stories. And so, Bryan, everybody hits or goes through some game-changing moments in their career. Can you talk about one or two that, maybe you thought you were going to go be an astronaut, but then something happened which put you on the road where you are now, and that was a game-changing moment. And the older we get, the more game-changing moments we can have. So share some of yours with us.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. So a little context about me. I'm co-founder of a company called GreenPal, and GreenPal is an app that works like Uber, but for lawn mowing services. So if you have a lawn, you need to get it mowed, you just download GreenPal, somebody comes out and does it for you. And I guess a game-changing moment building this company from scratch was, I thought the hard part was going to be the technology, was building the app, building the website, building all of the tech that goes into how do we make the magic happen of homeowner signs up, they get quotes, they hire somebody, the lawn care service comes out and does the job and gets paid. I thought that was the hard part. That's actually the easy part. The hard part was getting people to find out about it, getting people to use the app, getting people to discover it when they needed it. That was about 100 times harder than just building it. And so I learned the hard.
Are you talking about the customers or the vendors or both?
Well, in the early days, both. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem. We without consumers, it is of no value to lawn care providers, and vice versa. If there's no customers, the lawn guys, lawn gals don't want to use it. And so it was a chicken and egg problem. Now as time went on and we kind of hand cranked the supplier side, then we began to realize that the consumer side, the side that's bringing their wallet, is the harder side to attract. And that was something that I was not prepared for. I had built and sold a business already. I built a landscaping business from just me and a push mower to me and like 100 crews going out mowing yards every day, and sold that company. So when I started GreenPal, I thought I knew everything there was to know about building and scaling a small business, and nobody told me that there's a big difference between starting a business versus inventing something from scratch that does not exist. And so that was a hard thing we had to get over. Took years of just grinding our teeth and getting through it.
That's interesting. So do your customers tend to want the same people doing their lawn from time to time, or is it just somebody show up and mow my grass?
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's some nuance to it, because when somebody downloads an app like GreenPal, their grass is usually probably 2 or 3 feet tall. So right. They have flaked on them. There's this weird thing of the disappearing lawn guy. Like he mows your yard for maybe a season, and then the next season he disappears, or he just drops off the map out of nowhere. And so you're left with tall grass. And so that's kind of the pain point that GreenPal solves is okay, I need to get somebody out here to quote this, to actually do it, and then actually bill me. And so that's kind of the initial problem we solve. And then beyond that, you don't want to go through that process every week, every 2 weeks. You kind of want the same service to come out and mow the yard. And so we then transition into, okay, now we power that relationship between the consumer and their lawn care provider, and make it easy to where, okay, I know I'm supposed to be at Stewart's yard every 2 weeks, and he likes to have the back patio cleaned off after we're done, and the price is this, and these are the services he's ordered, and then I do it, and then I get paid in 24 hours, and it kind of just keeps it running like clockwork. So we solve the case of the disappearing lawn guy, and then we make sure that they're there for you as long as you own or rent your home. Or if they do end up not doing a good job, or not being reliable, you can very quickly push a button and hire another one. So that introduction, scheduling, getting it paid, and then powering the ongoing visits is what we're built to do.
I wish you did that for accountants. So,
Well, I think some people have tried. It's like every one of these businesses is similar in about 50% of the way, and then the other half is completely different. And so it's like one thing that we always think about that people always ask us is, okay, when are you going to do this for home cleaning or pressure washing or pool service? And the thing we learned the hard way is that all of the value that we provide is in like that last 10% or 5% of the nuance that goes into making a lawn mowing service as easy as ordering an Uber.
All right. Everybody hits a bump in the road. Yeah, a bump in the road can also be a game-changing moment, but sometimes it's just a challenge, and sometimes it makes you change your direction, or sometimes it's just a bump in the road. Can you tell us about something in this business or one of your other businesses, anything on your journey of how you got here that was a bump in the road and how you dealt with it?
Yeah, yeah. I've spent 25 years in this industry in one shape or form, and it almost seems like there is no road. It's just bump to bump, and it's just like,
Yeah.
like I'm waiting for this smooth like freeway, but and I think that's kind of what entrepreneurship is. It's like it's just you think that if you okay if I hire this key person, if I get this particular customer, if I solve this problem, then life will be good for a while. And what you learn is, okay, just because you solve those 5 problems, that means you get to solve 5 more. And that always surprises me. I always just kind of have this kind of like fantasy that in the back of my head that maybe like once I get to level 8 of the video game, it'll be easy and smooth sailing, but it never is. And I think that's what makes it fun. That's what causes you as the founder to level up. And so for me, which one do I pick? Going back to the bump in the road when we first got started with GreenPal was, if you launch it, they will not come. If you build it, they will not come. And that's what it was. It was it was pulling teeth just to get people to use this thing. And one of the real big kind of like punches in the stomach early on that I experienced was I needed people to use the app that we spent a year building. I needed like 20 people just to use it, so I could test it and figure out what was good about it, what wasn't, and then I was going to try to take the 20 and turn it into 100, and that's ultimately what we did. But I needed like 20 or 30 people, and so my best friend at the time, he had just bought a house, and so I said, "Oh, dude, that's great. We just got done with the beta version of our app, so it's ready for you to use. You're going to need a lawn guy." And he didn't sign up, and so I hit him up a week later, and I said, "Hey, man, you mind downloading the app in the app store and checking it out, using it? I need you to use it." He said, "Man, actually, there was a kid next door mowing the yard, and I just, he came over, gave me a price, so I just got him to do it." I said, "Man," I said, "dude, that's great, because then we can get him to use it. I need vendors too, and then you can use it." And he's like, "Man, I appreciate you checking on me, but I've got it taken care of." And so, I learned that nobody's going to care about what you're working on except for actual customers for whom you are solving a problem. And the sooner you can kind of get to that realization that nothing matters but actual customers using it, and that's kind of there for you to make sure you don't spend a decade building something that nobody wants. It's kind of course corrects you towards solving an actual problem that people will pay for. And but that was kind of a punch in the stomach. You expect your best friend to jump in there and help you out, but honestly, it's like don't expect any help. You should want to see this thing exist in the world, and just grind on it for as long as it takes.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Your best friend wouldn't
Yeah,
even.
and I don't talk to him much since then. That really, I kind of held a grudge about it. And now it's not like we're taking over the world or anything, but the app's doing good. It's
Yeah.
nationwide in the United States, where we've been around over 10 years. There's around 300,000 people using it every single week to get lawn mowing done, and so it's like I needed 20, just so I could like get on the right track. And I ended up hustling them up. We passed out flyers and
Sure.
knocked on doors, and we ended up getting our early adopting.
There's always plenty of people who are frustrated with their lawn guys. So
Totally. But don't expect friends or family to get it, to care about it, to support you, to cheer you on. They're not. Especially if they've never owned a business. It's an unrelatable
yeah,
journey to them.
yeah. Um, so I like to find out how our entrepreneurs stay current on things. I'm a CPA professional. We're required to get a certain amount of continuing education every year. Other entrepreneurs are not, licensed in whatever their field of expertise is. Um, and you are what I call an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. You're just really good at business. Right now, your business happens to be, a landscaping app, kind of thing, a a finder, a problem solver. So, and you can apply that to how do you stay current on the goings of how to run a business and the stuff that you need to know that applies to your business. What do you do and how do you do that?
Yeah, it's if I think every business is a tech business now. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're a pool cleaner, if you're a lawnmower, if you're an accountant, if you're a lawyer, every business is going to become a tech business, especially with AI. So being current with how to leverage the new things coming out, especially with AI, is going to be table stakes. And so, how do I do it? I'm paranoid about it. I'm paranoid about waking up one day and missing something that could have helped us get to the next level, and my competitors got there first. Um, I believe that you are what it is that you do. So it's like if I was looking for an attorney, um, I wouldn't look for the attorney that hasn't tried a case in 20 years. Even if they were the best in 1999, if they haven't tried a case in 25 years, that's not who I would hire. So it's like you have to constantly be in the game, getting the reps, and by doing that, you stay current with what the new tools are. So there's ways that I kind of force myself to do that. I still write code. I still talk to engineers on a daily basis. I still do customer support at least 1 hour a day, even though we have a team of people that help with that. I still do at least an hour a day. So that kind of keeps me in the trenches. It kind of allows me to close the gap between what I'm thinking and what our customers are thinking. And so that kind of keeps me forces me to stay tuned. And so a good dose of paranoia and then just staying in the trenches to a certain extent. It's kind of like I was watching an interview with Cat Williams the other day, and he was talking about comedians that don't do stand-up anymore, and how they're not funny anymore. And he was saying, it's like to stay sharp in this business, you got to still do stand up, and business is no different than that. And probably anything that you dedicate your life to is like that. You have to repeatedly do it to stay sharp.
Interesting. I love that you're still doing customer service. Is probably the lowliest job in the organization and most thankless, and nobody wants to do it. So,
But golden nuggets, I mean, every hour I dedicate, I always come out with at least one good idea. And so it's like it's free R&D.
how many of those ideas do you get to implement?
Well, because I'm the chief of this little organization. We're about 40 people. If I think it's a good idea, we definitely implement it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I move things to the front of the list. It's like we knew it was kind of a good idea, and so we had it on a Trello board somewhere, and I got to personally listen to 5 people last week complain about that we don't have, this feature. So we're moving it to the front. And so a lot of times it clarifies your thinking and allows you to focus.
Interesting. That's a great answer. All right. Let's pivot a little bit into my world. As I said, I'm CPA, and we do real estate investments now. I love to ask entrepreneurs. You've already said you've already had an exit. What do you do? Not asking for dollars or account numbers or whatever. How do you deploy your investable cash? What asset classes do you like, or do you have a storage unit with 10,000 Beanie Babies in it, or waiting for those to come back, or what do you invest in?
Well, that's a great question. I like the question because I love this idea of the blue collar millionaire. And I saw this a lot in my first business. So my first business was a landscaping company and started off just me and a push mower. And then little by little, over 15 years, grew it to about 150 people. And over the course of doing that, um, I just started meeting a lot of guys in the construction business, a lot of people in the trades business, and not all of them, but a lot of them got the learned the lesson of taking low quality revenue and turning it into high quality revenue. And so that was a lesson I learned really early on was running a landscaping business sucks. And I don't want to do this for my whole life. It sucks. It's a never ending treadmill. So
The grass just keeps coming back.
keeps growing. And I mean, it'd be great without the customers, but
Right, right. Yeah.
and so yeah, I realized real early that I better start making some investments. I better start taking the low quality revenue, which was hustling up a landscaping company, and turning it into high quality revenue, which could come from equities, bonds, real estate, you name it. And so I liked real estate at a young age, and I set a goal in my 20s to buy one piece of crap house every year and fix it up and just keep it. And so it worked really well with my landscaping business because
Yeah.
I could buy a property at the end of the season when we had a lot of cash, and then my helpers during the off season could help me fix it up. And I just kind of rinsed and repeated that little routine. And then when I sold the company 15 years in, I was in a really good position to negotiate selling the company because I already had this real estate portfolio. I didn't have to sell it. I had enough passive income coming in from a little real estate portfolio that I built, that I wasn't like desperate to sell the business. And so that helped me achieve a better exit. And so I like real estate. I probably left some money on the table because I didn't leverage it. I like paid for real estate. Um, and I probably could have made more money, if I had a crystal ball picking stocks, but that works for me. I like simple things that aren't complicated, that I can just rinse and repeat and do over and over again, and also roll up my sleeves and add some value to. And so outside of GreenPal, which I'm obviously a big shareholder in, real estate is where most of my investments are, and then some equities, maybe 20%.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Thank you for that. The appropriate level of detail. I appreciate that. So, and yeah, I think you might be wrong. I think most people have built their net worth with real estate. They've done like you've done. They've had this business, and then they parlay that into real estate, which is Wall Street calls us an alternative asset, and I'm saying no, we're the original asset.
That's right.
So, and with the tax efficiency, and but anyway, that's my soapbox, not yours. So, all right, here's the final question. Bryan, if you were mentoring somebody or somebody just wanted to follow in your footsteps, um, what one piece of advice would you give them?
Um, it would be that it's easy. So I like some advice that I heard, and can't remember who said it, is that it's easy to hide behind wanting to change the world. And so what that advice means is that you can have a goal of I'm going to change the world, and it's easy to hide behind that goal for a decade or maybe your whole life. And so it's like, yeah, you should have maybe some big goals, but really you should spend all of your time on the small routines and habits, and because that's where all of the progress is made. And so focus, like we don't like in the book Atomic Habits, the author talks about, like, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall back to the level of our routines and habits. And I wish I could beat into my head, 20 years ago, and that's some advice I would give. Is like, just focus on, okay, what it is we're doing today, this week, this month, and really almost don't worry about anything else. And then the other thing is I would say, like, put in some what I call tripwires. Um, and what I mean by that is like actual things that you're going to trip and stumble over, that force you to be accountable. And so I do this all over the place in my personal life and in my business. My personal life, I have trouble staying in shape, so I hire a boxing coach and got to meet this guy every morning at 6 a.m. In my business world, like these days with AI, I don't know 98% of what goes into that. So I've hired somebody that makes $1,000 an hour to work with me in our company on guiding our strategy on AI. And I have to meet with this person once a week. And so I better have put in the work to be prepared for that meeting. A good accountant, a good CPA. Don't go cheap on that. Like, really, like, hire a good CPA that when you meet with them, they make $400 or $500 an hour, and so you better damn well have all your books cleaned up, and the spreadsheets, you better pour it over them, and you better have gotten all your expenses cleaned up. And so it's like these little forcing functions cause me to have the good habits and good routines every day. And that's how you, like, build up the momentum and the compound interest. In 5, 10 years, you wake up in a different reality.
Right. I love that. Can we summarize that? Is your best advice is to um, form the rigorous habits?
Yeah, focus on the routines and habits.
Focus on the
And
routines and habits. Okay.
yeah, really spend all your time there. Like, don't even worry about the goals, and focus on the routines, the daily routines.
Okay.
What time are you getting in the office? What time do you go to lunch? What time do you work out every day? Okay. Then what time do you do customer support? What time do you do stand-ups with your team? What time do you do, like, working on yourself, reading and listening to podcasts and things like that? Like, make it a rigorous routine you can't screw up.
I love that. All right. I said that was the last question, but really, here's the last question. If anybody out in the audience would like to get in contact with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, hit me up, LinkedIn, Google my name, Bryan Clayton. LinkedIn for me is like the first thing that pops up. Go to greenpal.com if you want to mow grass using GreenPal, or get a lawn mowing service using GreenPal. And then Instagram too. If you Google my name, Bryan Clayton, my Instagram pops right up. Just follow me there, drop me a DM.
We will make sure all of those links are in the show notes. It'll make it easy if anybody wants to reach out to you, and if you need a new landscape guy. So that's great. Um, Bryan, thank you again for taking the time. I love what a deep thinker you are, and how much you've put into running these businesses, and you're clearly a guy who's working on your business, not just in it, but you're working in it too. Wow, doing the customer service, that's meaningful and powerful. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Stewart. I enjoyed it.
And to our audience, thanks for watching this episode of the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity podcast. And be sure to look out for the next one that comes out soon. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growth, Grace, and Prosperity podcast. If you'd like to be a guest, visit growthgraceprosperity.com/guest. We'd love to hear your story.